Target marked for death. The moon above planet Virtus was cold and silver. The jungle below it moved like waves. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Far above in the black sky, a small ship hovered silently. Its lights were off. Its weapons were hidden. Inside the ship, an alien assassin prepared for the kill. Her name was Rylena. She was tall, fast, and deadly. Her skin was soft blue, her eyes sharp and golden. Her black armor made no sound when she moved. Her heart was trained to feel nothing. No mercy, no hesitation. She had one mission tonight: kill the human named Tyler Reed. Tyler was not a soldier. He lived alone in a small outpost near the jungle. He grew food, repaired machines, and spoke to no one. He was quiet, simple, and completely unaware that a price had been placed on his head. The bounty came from a powerful alien syndicate. They believed Tyler had stolen rare technology from a shipwreck, but Tyler had never even left his small home. None of that mattered to Rylena. She was paid to kill. She landed her ship quietly a few miles away. She moved through the jungle like a shadow. No light, no sound. Her body blended into the trees. Her breathing was calm. She found the outpost just before midnight. It was small, just one metal hut, a power unit, and some farming tools. A soft, yellow light glowed inside the window. Someone was awake. Rylena crawled up onto the roof. She peeked through the vent. She saw him, Tyler. He was sitting at a small table fixing a damaged drone. His hands moved with care. He talked to himself quietly like he was telling the machine not to give up. "Come on, little guy. You can still fly. We've been through worse." Rylena watched. She reached for the hidden blade strapped to her thigh. A thin, curved weapon. Silent and fast. One strike to the neck. No sound. No pain. She opened the vent silently. Her eyes locked onto his throat. But she didn't move. Something felt strange. She saw a photo beside him on the table. A small image. Tyler, a young boy, and an old woman. They were smiling. Behind them was Earth, green trees, blue sky. Rylena blinked. She had killed before. Soldiers, thieves, spies, but never someone like this. He wasn't training. He wasn't preparing weapons. He was trying to fix a broken drone. He was alone. And yet, he was talking to the machine, like it mattered. Why? She waited. Minutes passed. Tyler stood up and walked outside. He looked at the stars, hands in his pockets. "I wonder if Earth even remembers me," he said softly. Rylena followed quietly, staying in the shadows. She had a clear shot. The blade was ready, one throw, one kill. She stepped forward. But at that exact moment, something unexpected happened. A small creature limped out of the jungle, injured, its leg bleeding. It was a forest dweller, usually wild and aggressive. But Tyler bent down slowly and reached out. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe." The creature sniffed him and collapsed into his arms. Rylena stood frozen. She had seen this species rip open soldiers, but now it rested against the human like a kitten. Tyler gently cleaned the wound using a cloth and wrapped the leg with soft care. "You're gonna be okay," he said. He carried the creature into his home and left the door open, wide open. She had the chance. He was unarmed, distracted, exposed. But Rylena stepped back. She didn't understand why her hands wouldn't move. Her mind screamed, "Finish." But her heart, something deeper inside, said, "Not tonight." She turned and vanished back into the jungle, her blade still unused. For the first time in years, she failed to complete her mission. But it didn't feel like failure. It felt like confusion. Something about that human made her pause, and she hated not knowing why. Close enough to kill. But Rylena didn't return to her ship that night. She stayed hidden in the tall trees, her glowing golden eyes watching. The quiet metal hut from above. The jungle around her moved with small night creatures, but she didn't move at all. She barely blinked. She had come to kill, but the blade stayed in its sheath. And her mind wouldn't stop spinning. Down below, the lights inside Tyler's hut were off. The only sound was soft breathing from within. He had fallen asleep next to the injured alien creature he'd rescued, its small body curled beside him like a trusting animal. Rylena narrowed her eyes. This human didn't match the reports. He wasn't a thief. He wasn't a threat. He was gentle. Weak, or was it strength of another kind? Just before dawn, she made a decision. She dropped from the tree like a ghost, landing silently in the dirt. Her feet made no sound. The door to the hut was still slightly open. He hadn't locked it. How foolish. How human. She stepped inside. The air was warm and smelled like metal, oil, and something sweet, maybe food. Small blinking lights covered the walls and tools were spread across the table. She looked down. There, he was, sleeping on a thin mattress. His head rested on a rolled-up jacket. One arm draped over the small creature. He didn't stir. Rylena stood over him, tall and still. Her hand moved to her blade. Now, one cut. Quick, clean. But again, she hesitated. She looked at his face, calm, peaceful, tired. Then her eyes fell on the photo again, this time sitting near the bed. The boy, the old woman, that same smile. She felt something tight in her chest. Strange, unfamiliar. She slowly crouched, her face inches from his. He stirred, her body tensed, his eyes blinked open, groggy. For 1 second their eyes met. His face didn't twist in fear. He whispered, barely awake, "Am I dreaming?" Then his eyes closed again, and he drifted back to sleep. Rylena stood. Her hand moved away from the blade. She turned, left, the hut, vanished back into the misty forest and kept walking all night, all day without rest. She didn't return to her ship. She didn't report in. She needed answers. By the time the sun set again, she was sitting near a stream, her face blank, her blade beside her. In her mind, she kept seeing him. Not as a target, not as a human, but as a mystery. No mission had ever gone like this. No target had ever made her freeze. Why now? That night she returned, but not through shadows, not as an assassin. She wore a simple cloak, covered her armor, hid her weapons. She approached the outpost as a stranger. Tyler was outside again, feeding the forest creature from a small bowl. He turned when he heard footsteps. His eyes widened. A tall alien woman stood at the edge of the field, cloaked, face partly hidden. His hand moved to his belt, where he kept a weak stun stick. "Who are you?" he asked. Rylena paused. Then she lied. "I'm a traveler," she said slowly, using his language. "Lost." Tyler relaxed just a little. "That's rare out here." She stepped closer. "May I stay for a while?" Tyler looked at her closely. She didn't smile, but she didn't feel like danger. "Yeah," he said. "Just don't steal my tools." And just like that, the assassin entered his home, not with a blade, but with questions. And the most dangerous one of all: why didn't I kill him? The assassin returns. As a stranger, Tyler didn't sleep much that night. He had let a stranger into his home, an alien woman with strange eyes, a calm voice, and a presence that felt too still, too quiet. She said she was lost, but something inside him whispered she wasn't. Rylena sat in the corner of his hut, legs crossed, watching the shadows move across the wall. She didn't speak. She didn't ask questions. She didn't blink often either. Tyler gave her a blanket. She didn't use it. He handed her food. She only tasted it, but she never once reached for a weapon. Still, he didn't sleep. The next morning, Light spilled through the windows. The air smelled of wet soil and hot circuits. Tyler checked on the forest creature. Its leg was healing fast. Then he looked at the silent visitor. She was awake, already standing. "You didn't sleep?" he asked. "I don't need much," she replied. There was no warmth in her voice, but no threat either, just control over. The next few days, she didn't leave. She helped fix the solar panel without being asked. She hunted small fruit and placed them silently on the table. She watched the stars each night with quiet focus. But the mystery stayed. She never gave her name. She never explained how she got here, and Tyler didn't push. But he noticed small things, how her steps made no sound, how she knew exactly which wires to touch, and how she always sat with her back to the wall, her eyes on the door. She moved like a soldier. One evening, they sat around the fire pit outside. The stars were bright, the jungle quiet. Tyler finally asked, "You've killed before, haven't you?" She looked at him, didn't deny it, didn't confirm it, just said, "Why do you ask? You act like someone who's seen danger, but not afraid of it anymore." She looked up at the stars. Then, for the first time, she smiled, but it was sad. "I have seen many things," she said. "Some I cannot forget." Tyler nodded slowly. "Me too." The silence after that was not cold. It was shared. The next day, Rylena disappeared. No goodbye, no trace. Tyler waited until nightfall, but she didn't come back. He should have felt relief. The mystery woman was gone. Things were back to normal, but the hut felt emptier than before. He sat by the window, staring at the stars, wondering who she really was and why she had come. 2 nights later, she returned. This time, not cloaked, not quiet, bleeding. She stumbled through the jungle and collapsed near his door. Her armor was torn, and a burn mark scorched across her back. Tyler ran out, grabbed her before she fell, and dragged her inside. "What happened? Who did this?" Her breath was shallow. "They followed me. Bounty. I failed the mission." Tyler froze. "Mission?" Her eyes widened. She realized what she'd said, but it was too late. He looked at her differently now. "You were never lost?" She tried to speak, but blood bubbled at her lips. Tyler grabbed a med kit. "Talk later," he said. "Right now, I save you." As he cleaned her wounds and wrapped her back in bandages, Rylena stared at him. No fear, no anger, only one question in her heart. Why is he saving me, when he knows I came to kill him? He found her blade, and the truth. The rain fell hard that night. It tapped on the metal roof of Tyler's hut like a ticking clock counting down to something he didn't understand yet. Inside, Rylena lay unconscious on the cot, her body still and her breath weak. Her wounds were bad, burns across her back, a deep gash on her shoulder, and smaller cuts everywhere. Tyler had done what he could. Bandages, pain patches, a warm blanket. But her armor told another story. It wasn't like anything he had seen before. It was sleek, silent, covered in marks. Marks he now realized weren't decorations. They were kill counts. He sat near the table, staring at her gear. It was strange. Alien. Smooth, yet built for war. That's when he noticed her bag. She had kept it close. Always. Now it had fallen open. Tyler reached toward it. Slowly. Carefully. Inside, he saw food rations, a glowing blue patch of medicine, and a blade, not just any blade, small, curved, and shimmering with poison. He picked it up. It was shaped like a strike weapon. Fast. Deadly. Silent. And perfectly sized for killing a human. His stomach turned. Everything hit him at once. The way she moved, the way she watched, the way she never blinked. She hadn't come here by accident. She had come here to kill him. He set the blade down and walked to her bedside. She was breathing steady now, eyes still closed. Her face, calm under the dim lights, looked almost peaceful. Too peaceful for someone who had nearly ended his life. he whispered. Why didn't you do it? As if she heard him, her golden eyes opened slowly. Tyler didn't move. He simply held up the blade. She stared at it, then at him. No lies now, only silence. And then, I failed, she said. The truth filled the room like fire. She didn't try to explain it away. She didn't beg. She simply said it. I was sent here, paid to kill you. I watched you for days. I came into your house, stood over you while you slept. Tyler stayed quiet, she added. But I couldn't do it. Why? He asked. Rylena sat up slowly, wincing in pain. Because you were kind to things you didn't need to be kind to. The animal, the broken drone, me. Tyler let out a shaky breath. You could have just left. You didn't have to stay. I wanted to understand you, she replied. You were not what I was told. You were something else. Tyler sat down across from her. His voice was quiet. I should be angry. Are you? He looked into her eyes. I don't know. For a long moment nothing moved, only the sound of rain outside. Rylena lowered her eyes. I didn't lie about everything. I liked watching the stars. I liked helping you fix the panel. I liked listening to your voice. Her voice softened, and when they hurt me, I didn't run to save myself. I ran back here. Tyler leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. He looked at the blade again, then at her. You're dangerous. Yes, she whispered. And you could leave. I could. But you didn't. She shook her head. Because for the first time I don't want to. The lights flickered once. The jungle groaned under the storm, and Tyler smiled faintly. You're the strangest guest I've ever had. She smiled too for the first time. Not sad, not hidden. Just real. He stood and walked to the small shelf, placing the blade there beside some old tools. You don't need this anymore. No, she said. I don't. That night, he gave her the bed and slept near the wall. But sleep came slowly. His mind was full of questions, doubt, and something else. Curiosity. In the corner, Rylena whispered into the dark. They won't stop. Others will come. Tyler opened his eyes. Then, let them come. Enemies become something else. The next morning was too calm. No birds, no wind, no movement. Tyler stepped outside with a solar mug in his hand, sipping warm liquid while scanning the jungle. He had lived here for over a year. He knew silence. Like this wasn't peace, it was warning. Behind him, Rylena sat at the small table inside, armor half stripped, still healing from her wounds. Her eyes followed him. Her senses were sharper than any motion sensor. They're watching, she said softly. Tyler turned. You're sure? She nodded. They won't attack yet. But they're here. Assassins like me. Maybe worse. Tyler didn't ask why. He knew why, because she had failed her mission, and now she wasn't just protecting him. She was a traitor. She stood up, slowly, carefully. Her wounds ached, but her body moved with a kind of trained grace. Half pain, half pride. She looked at Tyler. If I leave, they might not kill you. And if you stay, he asked. They will come in numbers. Blades, guns, fire. Tyler shrugged. Then we fight. Rylena blinked. You're not a warrior. No, he said. But I'm not leaving you behind. She looked at him differently now. Not as a target. Not as a mission. But as a partner. The next few hours passed in silence. But it wasn't awkward. It was something else. Focused. Honest. They worked together, setting up traps, charging the energy field around the hut, checking old drones for function. Tyler handed her a shock rifle he barely knew how to use. She showed him how to hold it. Their fingers touched. Neither pulled away. As night fell, they sat by the fire again. Rylena spoke first. "You confuse me." "How?" "You were marked for death. Most humans would hate me now, but you look at me like—" Tyler smiled. "Like I see you." She nodded. "Yes, like that." She stared into the flames. "I've been trained since childhood. No home, no family, just missions. I was never meant to speak with a target. Never meant to feel—" She paused. "Anything." Tyler leaned forward. "So why did you feel it now?" She looked up at him. "You didn't fight me. You didn't fear me. You fed me. You healed me. You even gave me your bed." Tyler chuckled. "Well, I'm polite like that." She smiled again, soft this time, warmer. And that smile, it changed something. Suddenly, crack. A sharp sound cut through the night. A tripwire snapped. Then a blast. They both jumped up. Tyler grabbed the shock rifle. Rylena dashed to the door. 3 shadows moved through the trees. Dark, fast, silent. "Go to the roof," she barked. "Stay hidden. I'm not leaving you alone. I need eyes above." He ran without arguing. From the rooftop, Tyler saw the first attacker rush the door, but Rylena was faster. She twisted around the strike, her old blade glowing as she spun. One clean motion, one enemy down, another came from behind. She ducked, rolled, kicked hard, then stabbed low. 2 down. The third raised a plasma gun. Tyler aimed, fired. The blast knocked the enemy down. Rylena finished him. Silence returned. Only the wind moved now. She breathed heavily, standing in the blood-soaked grass. He ran down. "You okay?" She nodded, eyes on the bodies. "They'll send more," she said. "I've broken the code, protected the mark, chosen—" She looked at him again. "You." Tyler stepped close. "You didn't choose wrong." She dropped her blade. Her hands reached for his. Gently, not like an assassin. She placed his hand over her chest, her voice a whisper. "I was sent to end your life, but now I would give mine to protect it." And for the first time in both their lives, they weren't alone. The choice, him or her people. The stars were watching. High above the jungle, 1,000 cold lights blinked in silence, unaware that a war was brewing below. Not between armies, not between planets, but inside Rylena herself. She stood near the stream, hands soaked in water, watching the blood fade from her fingers. 3 of her own kind, trained assassins, were dead. Not by accident, not in defense of herself, but in defense of a human, Tyler. And now, the signal had come. A small black disc blinked red on her wrist. Her old handler's voice crackled through it. "You have 24 hours, the voice said. "Finish the mission, or you will be hunted like prey." Then silence. Rylena stared at the device. It wasn't just a message. It was a sentence. Back at the hut, Tyler was repairing the broken roof panels. His sleeves were rolled up, his hands dirty, and sweat dripped from his brow. He saw her approaching and smiled. "You look like someone who needs to punch the sky." She didn't smile back. "I have to tell you something," she said. Tyler wiped his hands and sat down. She placed the black disc in his hand. "They're giving me a choice." He looked at it, then at her. "You or them," he said softly. She nodded. For a long time, neither spoke. Then Rylena broke the silence. "They were my family, my training, my blood. Everything I knew was about duty, loyalty, obedience." She touched her chest. "But now there's you." Tyler didn't speak, because he saw something in her eyes he had never seen before. Fear, not of death, of making the wrong choice. He stood, stepped closer, and gently placed the disc on the table. Then he took her hands in his. "I don't want to be the reason you're hunted." She squeezed his fingers. "You're not. You still have time to run." I'm done running. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat outside on the small hill behind the hut, her eyes scanning the stars. Tyler joined her. Are you scared? He asked. Yes, she whispered. Because for the first time I have something to lose. He looked at her. Really looked. Strong, scarred, silent. But with him, she was soft. He brushed her hand with his. You're not alone anymore. The sun rose slowly, and the 24 hours ended. Just as they expected, the final ship came. It landed silently at the edge of the jungle, sleek, black, and deadly. From it stepped a tall alien, face-masked, armor glowing red, her old commander, the one who had trained her. He walked alone into the clearing and stood before the hut. Rylena walked to meet him. No weapons, just her word. I refuse, she said, calmly. You are sworn, he replied coldly. I break the vow. Then you die. Tyler stood behind her, shock rifle in hand. But she held up her palm. No. The commander drew his blade. You were my finest. She took a step forward. And, now I choose him. The commander attacked without warning. Fast. Brutal. But Rylena was faster. She dodged, twisted, blocked. Their blades clashed like lightning, strike after strike. Past versus present, obedience versus freedom. At last, she disarmed him. His blade fell. He knelt, defeated. She didn't finish him. She only said, Tell them I'm done. He stood slowly. His voice was bitter. You are no longer one of us. No, she said. Now I'm something more. The ship left. No more came. Not that day. Not ever. That evening, Tyler lit the fire. Rylena sat beside him, hands still, shaking from the duel. She leaned her head against his shoulder. You lost everything for me, he said quietly. No, she whispered. I found everything because of you. From killer to keeper, the jungle was alive again. Birds sang, leaves danced, the sky was open and blue. It was as if the planet itself had waited for the storm to pass, and now it had. But inside Tyler's heart, another storm was settling. He stood, on the hilltop behind his small outpost, watching Rylena from a distance. She knelt in the garden, carefully planting seeds. Her blade, once used to end lives, now rested in the dirt beside her, dull and unused. She wasn't an assassin anymore. She was something else now, a keeper. 3 weeks had passed since the final duel. No ships, no threats, no signals from her people. They had let her go, or maybe they knew she would never return the same. Rylena stood, brushing dirt from her hands. She looked up at Tyler, who had just brought fresh water in a metal jug. You still watch me like you don't believe I'm real, she said with a teasing smile. He laughed. I don't, not fully. She stepped closer, tilting her head. Do you still see the assassin in me? Tyler looked into her golden eyes. I see the woman who could have killed me, and instead chose to stay. They shared a quiet breakfast. Simple fruit, roasted roots, and silence filled with meaning. Tyler placed something on the table, a carved necklace, small, handmade, a symbol of peace between two very different worlds. I made this, he said. Took me forever. Rylena picked it up slowly, running her fingers across the design. 2 stars, one large, one small, twisted together like vines. It's beautiful, she said softly. What does it mean? That no matter how far apart we were born, we found each other anyway. She didn't speak. She just reached out and placed the necklace around her neck, then leaned forward and kissed him. Soft. Real. The moment passed like a breath, but it felt like a lifetime. Later that day, they stood at the edge of the jungle. Tyler held a crate of broken tech, ready to trade with a passing merchant ship. Rylena stood beside him, spear slung over her back. Not for killing, but for tradition. She looked at the open sky and said, "I used to believe my path was written." In blood, he smiled, and now? She turned to him. "Now I believe I write it with you." The ship landed briefly. No bounty, no questions, just trade. The merchant, a bulky alien with a robotic arm, stared at Rylena. "You look familiar." She said nothing. Tyler spoke. "Instead, she's my protector." The merchant blinked. "Oh, lucky man." Tyler grinned. "You have no idea." That night they danced by the fire. No music, just movement, just laughter. Tyler stumbled over his own feet. Rylena caught him. "You are the worst dancer I've ever seen, and you're the first woman to tell me that while spinning a spear." The stars above blinked gently, quiet and endless. Rylena looked up and whispered, "For so long I killed because I had nothing." She looked at Tyler. "But now I have something, and I would kill to protect it." Tyler leaned forward, brushing his fingers against hers. "You don't have to kill anymore." She smiled. "Not unless you burn the food again." And in that moment, a killer became a keeper. A hunter became a healer, and a human found love where he had expected only death. The end.